Hello, I'm back again with my truck. As you can see, there's no engine. I got it out. The only thing I had to really do left to get it out was needing time to do it. But the only thing I had to really do was finish unbolting the exhaust, which I got my impact out, and that made it come off a whole lot easier. I got that off, and once I got that off, then I unbolted the cross member, unbolted the transmission from the cross member, pulled that off, got that out of the way. Everything kind of came out a little bit easier after that. And what else? Oh yeah, I had a hard time unhooking my linkage right there, there. The linkage for the put it in gear and everything, and for the automatic transmission. Once I got that unhooked and everything else, and then I left the drive shaft in it, as you can see, because then it goes into a carrier bearing. I wasn't about to fight that, and I said hell with that, because I knew when I pulled the transmission out, it'd slide out anyways, because it just slides back into an automatic transmission. Alright, back again. I had to go for a second, but where was I? Yeah, I unhooked that, pulled the transmission out without that. Undid my motor mount bolts, which I'm gonna figure out how to get. I don't understand why I was turning these, but nothing was coming out, so I don't know what, if they're stripped or what the hell the deal is. I don't know. But anyways, I'm trying to take these bolts out for the motor mount, try to get them off, but they weren't coming off for some reason. So I don't know what the hell the deal is, why they won't unbolt, but because I had a hard time getting the oil filter up over this, so I just took the oil filter off and just did away with that whole shenanigans. All this leak in here was from the stupid power steering leaking on that thing. But yeah, jacked it up and it come out. Of course, it'd be nice to do it on a nice hard concrete floor, but I did it on dirt and made it work. But I did get it out, and somebody was here to help me. But we got it out, and then we got stuck right there in this hole. We're trying to spin it around and try to push the engine crane down to the shed to maybe unload it onto the floor. That way I can unbolt the transmission and then put the engine on the engine stand. But that didn't work, so because we got stuck right there. So then I got the brilliant idea to get my tractor with the trailer. I backed the trailer underneath the engine, let the engine down into it, and the trailer did hold it, surprisingly. I didn't like it, but it did work. And then I backed it over here. I backed it in, and then of course we brought the engine crane over first, put that in here, and then backed the trailer up, jacked it up again, and it slid right out. And so now here's the engine, all here. Just gotta unbolt, like I said, unbolt the transmission and get then I can start putting the motor, jack the motor back up and put it on here, and start doing all that stuff. So those are my projects for right now. I might do my gas can tipped over. My old International Cub, good old tractor. Had it for a long time. My grandfather had it before me, and then my father had it, and now I have it, messing around with it. Pushes some dirt. Pushed a lot of dirt when I was younger. We did use it to fix our driveway all the time, every time it rained. But yeah, she's all good now. Works still. Just got a plow's a little rusted down here, but whatever. But transmission, I believe, should say it on this side maybe. I ain't seeing it here, but I believe it's a 4L60. It's got a 27 mark right there, but I believe it's a 4L60E or whatever you called it. Anyways, somebody showed me, or one of the guys I follow on YouTube, he had a video. He showed that if this little dimple is right here in the top of the block, then it's a 4-bolt main in a 350 5.7 Vortec. I've never taken one really apart before, so I don't really know if it's 4-bolt or not, but from what I hear, all Vortecs are 4-bolt, but I don't know. Like I said, I've never taken one apart, so I don't really know, but we're gonna find out when I tear this apart, and I'll put the video on here to see if that little thing is true about this little dimple right here. You know, if there's a hole there, because it's made to look like it takes a bigger transmission or something. But yeah, transmission lines are a little rusted. Might get new ones before I put it back in. That way I don't have an issue. But yeah, so like I said, get it back together, or tear it apart first, then get it back together. I'm gonna put a cam in it, put a LT4 hot cam in it to give it a little rumble. I don't want nothing dramatic where I got to do tons of engine work to it. I know it's a good motor. It's got 200 and oh shit, I think it's got 223,000 miles on it. Here, let's go take a look. I know, yeah, I got a flat tire. Black and silver. I never see too many trucks with the black and silver paint like that, so. Gotta fix that carpet. No big deal. What do we got here? Oh, 227,000 miles on it, and red interior, seats ripped, old. I've had it for a long time. But yeah, I don't see too many of the Silverado. You don't see too many of the black and silver paint anymore. You know, only a few far between. You always see like the greens and all the other ones, but I've never seen any. I've only seen maybe one or two other ones around town, but they were different years, like the early 90s and stuff that had this one, the same, you know, black with the silver, with the pinstripe, and then these decals. But yeah, so I'll get to tearing that apart. I know the engine is good. I mean, it didn't smoke for me. No smoke, no oil smoke. It never burned any oil as far as I'm concerned. You know, that I never noticed. The only thing I ever had to add the oil to it for was for what? Not yet. And well, anyways, back like the only thing I ever had to do oil with because of it was down or whatever. But like I said, it wasn't burning oil. It was always this here, this oil sending unit, or the oil pressure gauge here. It's always leaking, and you can see it's all run right down through here. It's like a slow leak. It was nothing, you know, bad. I want to say nothing real bad, but the only thing, like I said before, I had to do to it was I always had to do the intake gasket. The first time it ever went on me, it blew right back here on the back. It was dumping coolant right down right down onto the ground. And then what else? And then I had somebody do it for me at the time because I didn't have time to do it because I was going to school. But They did it for me. It lasted for maybe 6 months, and then it started skipping and stuff when you get going down the road at like a steady speed. Couldn't figure it out. So then I heard, you spray along the intake, see if the intake's leaking. So I got a can of carb clean. I did it with a can of carb cleaner. And I did it with that. And I sprayed around the intake, and it worked. I could hear it stumble when I was running. So I was like, well, it's leaking right, it was leaking right above the number 6 port. For number 6 cylinder, it was leaking right there. So I pulled it apart, and you can see the gasket was a little, like it got mushed or something. So I fixed that. I did that. That time I did it myself. I did the intake myself, and it lasted pretty long. It's blasted up till now. That was back at like 150,000 miles, and it's got 220 something on it now. So mine, the way I did it, lasted a little longer. But what else? Oh, the transmission's been rebuilt by a Saunders' transmission. Raked me over the coals on that. I was taking off from a stop and stomped on the gas to get going. When I did the oh shit, what did it do? Oh, it like went to neutral for some reason, then slammed back into gear. And of course, when I drove it home the rest of the way, it was kind of acting funny, like high revving, so I knew something wasn't right. And apparently the pump and the transmission blew and a couple other things, so I brought it to a place like it didn't have time at that time either, and it cost me $3,000. Yeah, believe that shit. Yeah, for a stupid transmission, which I know the parts only cost maybe $500, maybe a little more than that, for all the stuff, for the all the clutches and the pump. I mean, can't be that much. I mean, Jesus. But they rebuilt it, and it's been pretty good so far. The only thing was one time I was leaving with it, and I stepped on the gas again. Of course, I was fooling around, and it made a whining noise. So I don't know what that was, but hang on here. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm sorry. Anyways, about the transmission. So yeah, I'm gonna probably rebuild it anyways, just because like I said, it made that whining noise when I took off, and kind of acted funny after that. So I don't know if like one of the clutches stuck or what, but like I said, I don't know. It's got a K on both sides of the transmission, so I don't know what the hell that means. But I'm pretty sure it's a 4L60. Could be wrong. I don't know, I'll figure it out and let you know more. The block numbers, I don't know what the hell the block numbers are on here. On the engine blocks, but I'll know when I take it apart the rest of the way. But that's it for today, and got a lot accomplished for what little time I had, and into it, pulling that out and everything else. So, and get this transmission bolted, and hopefully get that jack back up and put it on the engine stand and go from there. So we'll go, next video will probably be on the engine stand. So, bye.